Hello, everyone. In this session, Mr. Ranjit Baxi, Managing Director at International Recycling Limited, will give a presentation titled Freight Challenges and Solutions. Mr. Ranjit is also the founding president of Global Recycling Foundation and immediate past president BIR. He is a recognized expert in the recycling business and speaks on recycling to audiences across the globe. He has also published a book, Recycling Our Future, a Global Strategy. Thank you so much for joining us here, Mr. Ranjit.
By adding my welcome to all of you to the International Recycling Week being held in Dubai. I have always said and I always strongly believe that these conferences have a major part to play in promoting recycling globally. We need these conferences to help eminent speakers from all over the world to connect and share best practices and share knowledge and information which is then provided as a benefit to the recipient country. So I think all of us who are speaking on this conference and all the delegates, I want to thank you all for your continued part in the world of recycling. I've been asked to speak on the subject freight challenges and solutions. It's a rather difficult subject to speak on its own away from the world of recycling, because I strongly believe that recycling is the word of recycling is basically comprised of 3 or 4 important members who make the supply chain possible. First and foremost is the supplier of the recovered fiber or recyclables, and the other end is the manufacturer or the consumer of goods who is able to convert the recycling material into a consumer product. But in between the two, connecting these two ends, are 2 or 3 very important components, of which sea freight is a very, very important. I wouldn't say sea freight, I would say freight across the board. There is freight in the exporting country, which I would call haulage at origin, then the actual shipping sea freight, followed by haulage at destination. So these 3 together, to me, form the area of freights, which is sea freight plus haulage. Additionally, another factor that affects this business greatly is the demand and supply cycle. How much collections are we making? What is the collection volume? What is the demand volume? So supply and demand also has a big effect on the ultimate pricing of our recyclables. Additionally, the foreign exchange, the currency rates also drive a lot of this business forward. Which direction the products will move more comfortable vis-a-vis where it won't move. And when all these 3 or 4 products to me make this industry. Obviously overriding all this is quality. I'm sure there will be other speakers who will be touching on all the other subjects, but I'm only going to touch on sea freight, so on freight as such. So why do I say that freight is currently a very, very important part in our business? Because I think if I'm looking back in 40 years of my business, I have never come across a period like today, because of the pandemic, because of the demand and supply cycle, because of reduced collections, because of increasing demand, because of people returning back to work, whatever may be the reason. But we are now noticing a paradigm shift in our business from where we were to where we are and to where we are likely to be going. I thought let me just describe what is paradigm shift. Looking through the dictionary, I found paradigm shift is a time when the usual and accepted way of doing or thinking about something changes completely. So what do I mean? What I mean here is, from a sea freight point of view, I as an exporter am now thinking, should I be leaving my recyclables for use in my own country, in my own region, or should I continue exporting? Because exporting is becoming a big challenge in terms of increasing sea freight. The good news is recently I'm seeing the sea freights are getting a little bit down, not excessively down, but if I compare it back to about 18 months ago, when from Europe to China or Europe to Asia, the sea freights were in the region of $600 to $700, we moved up to as much as $3,000. I think we are now close to $2,000. But this is still excessively high for our product to accommodate such high sea freights, because in many cases the value of the goods is so low that the sea freights tend to be much higher. If I go back 15, 20 years ago, the price of mixed paper was below zero and the sea freight was well over zero. So it was like sea freight was the driver of the business, not the value of the goods. Okay, today we are probably not in that kind of scenario because the value of goods, the value of recycled recovered fiber, recovered paper, or ferrous or non-ferrous, across the board, the value of goods have increased. So the sea freight is comparatively not as much as more than the value of goods, but they are still much higher for the business to contend. Why sea freight plays such an important part for us? Because sea freight, added with other costs, gives us the ultimate price the consumer is willing to pay. So the consumer here being the paper manufacturer. So the paper manufacturer, unfortunately, is also limited by how much he can pay for his raw material, because he is kept by the price at which he can sell his finished goods. Okay, we have recently been going through a period where the price of pulp and everything has been gone to abnormally high levels, but these levels will and shall come down sometime today, tomorrow, in a given future, but they will come down. And if they come down, and the sea freight therefore has got to also hopefully make equal adjustment. So my question is, exporting is very important. Why I'm saying it's very, very important is because this industry, recycling industry, is saving some close to 1 billion tons of CO2 emission. The climate change story, the green story, the decarbonization story, the sustainability story is only possible when the shipping line and the recycling industry work together as partners. This is a responsible partnership for the good of the environment, for the good of the planet. I think we need to start looking at the shipping partnership with our business much over and above the business of simply buying and having it shipped. Because the shipping lines are playing a very important part in our industry as a major supply chain partner, also making it possible for us to deliver a green, sustainable planet, helping us meet the climate change goals. So shipping line must also bear this responsibility of theirs in mind and not excessively quadruple their sea freights at the time, which are completely hindering the business. And the market today is facing a challenge whether should a recycled product or recovered fiber be consumed locally in the local paper mills, or should we be exporting? Yes, Europe today is sitting on 5-6 million, maybe 7 million tons of surplus recovered fiber, for which we need a home. So for that home has to be, an export market, which therefore needs to be shipped in containers, and therefore sea freight plays a very important part in that partnership. But what I'm trying to say here, that this is a responsible partnership. Both sides need to be responsible partners, that we are contributing over and above just the normal business. So the question, therefore, this is now bringing to all of us is, how will recovered paper or recycled paper or recovered fiber be sustainable in the future to continue to be exported, or will it be retained and kept in the local regions? Like if Europe is now working on a policy, green policy, which is trying to put a ban, we're going to stop export of recyclables across all sectors, paper, ferrous, non-ferrous. Now if that happens, the shipping industry will have a big problem. If I think back when I started my business some 35 years ago, we only had ships which were carrying like 400 to 500 40-foot containers, or 800 to 1,000 20-foot containers. And they were quite big ships in 1980s, 1978. Then they moved up to 1,1500, 1,800 TEU, which means 900 40-foot ships were quite a big size vessel at the time. And to fill those 900 40-foot containers, recovered fiber formed a very important part of that cargo. I mean, I remember once talking to a chairman of a shipping line, and he said, Ranjit, do you realize that recovered fiber helps us to fill the best cargo of our container ships so that we can carry other cargoes on which we make the money, and recovered fiber cargo is just helping us to meet our basic cost. And from 1,800 TEU ships, we have progressed to 4,000, 6,000, 8,000, 10,000. Today we are at 20,000 TEU ships. So those ships have not changed. The concept has not changed. They still need our cargo. They still need recovered fiber to go into that ship to fill the base cargo of that ship. So the shipping lines, I believe, should also be very important members of this partnership and must not dislodge the export business by trying to make it so expensive. So if Europeans and regulators and in UK, etc., we find we are able to use our fiber more for the local region, there will be very little exports. Exports will go down. Yes, China was buying something like 28 million tons. It came down to just over 5 million, 6 million tons last year. This year is down to 0. Yes, we have been able to find alternate markets. Yes, there has been new demand for fiber by new capacities coming up within Europe, in Italy, in Spain, in Germany. And new capacities are coming up in Vietnam, Indonesia, and other markets. But eventually, if we are not able to export because of regulation reasons or because of the shipping line making it so difficult for us to export, our cargoes will remain within Europe, and therefore the shipping lines will be missing this very important cargo in part of their product mix that they are exporting on their ships across the world. So I think sea freight, carrying recovered fiber, exporting recovered fiber are all interconnected subjects, and one cannot look at each one of them separately. I think we need to look at the whole picture as one big value chain partnership. And if I ask a question to myself, will the demand for recovered fiber or the demand for paper go down in the next 30, 40 years? I'm sure you all know the answer. The answer is no. Global population, which is today at 8 billion people, is going to touch 10 billion by 2050. So we will have more people looking for more paper. So demand for paper is going to increase one way or the other. So what we must not do is let us not force ourselves into not being able to ship cargo from west to east in terms of recovered fiber, and we lose this most important line of supply for 6, 7, 8 million tons of surplus recovered fiber in Europe, and going to Asia. Instead, we use it locally within Europe, in which case the shipping lines as well as the Asian paper mills will have to look for other supply sources to meet their requirement, but they won't really stop using recovered fiber. So the middle classes are growing. The demand for fiber one way or the other is going to grow. And as I said, logistic industry has got a big role to play as sustainable partners. So the challenge for me is, as a recovered fiber exporter, how far and how much can I sustain as a sea freight increase? The challenge for the shipping line today is with the decreasing volume of cargo being exported from west to east, how quickly can I recover my sea freight? What cargo do I need to ship, or do I need to send empty containers? So the shipping lines are looking at it from their cost point of view. We are looking from our point of view is how much can the industry ultimately be able to pay, because the consumer of paper is the one who is ultimately going to bear the cost. So the balance between supply and demand is very important, that this must be maintained. I mean, how can this be done? I mean, I have always supported the idea when I've been speaking to senior members of the shipping industry, that it is very important that we should try to create a joint forum of recovered fiber exporters with the ship owners. Why I'm saying that is because it's very important. The ship owners need to understand the story from where we stand, and we need to understand the story from where they stand. Yes, the shipping lines, when the market dries down, they find it very easy to put the ships in dry docks, and therefore kept the capacity available. With less capacity in terms of space available on the ship, the sea freight goes up, and that's how they maintain the demand and supply cycle. And once the market opens up, they bring the ships back from the dry docks. I mean, it's fantastic. They certainly cannot run empty ships, but we certainly cannot as well be able to continue paying such high sea freights, because the business cannot sustain itself. The model won't work. Yes, the shipping industry is a huge financial investment is involved in this industry. I mean, as you all know, that there is we call a weekly selling as a string. Every Monday, if a vessel calls support, every Monday it's called a Monday string, then there's a Tuesday string, there's a Wednesday string. So to run one string across Europe and Asia, they need minimum 9 up to 11 ships, depending on the ports of call, to run one string. So roughly if you take 7 days a week, and there is one or the other string calling every day of the week, so you can imagine between 7 times 10, you got close to 70, 80 ships between just one company. And there are so many shipping lines. So there are over 100, 120 vessels operating in this region. And the cost of a vessel is quite high. You're looking at 70, 80, maybe even over 100 million with these huge 20,000 TEU vessels. So the shipping investments is quite high, which we understand and we respect. But the shipping industry must also understand when they're dealing with recovered fiber, our industry can only sustain so much in terms of value that they can pay for shipping industry, for sea freight. Otherwise, the model of exporting recovered fiber is not possible. So we'll probably come to a day in the future where we may not be able to export recovered fiber. So my message to all my colleagues in the shipping industry, my message to all the colleagues in the recycling industry, that let's please work together. Let's be responsible partners. Let's work together as a team. Let's understand that this increasing sea freight and decreasing sea freight like a yo-yo. I mean, you can see 12 months ago we were on $700, then it went up to $3,000, then it went back to $2,000. It's not possible for any exporter to plan his business correctly and the shipping line to be assured of the volume of recovered fiber of those containers. Because if you take an order for 5,000 tons, you will need 4 or 5 weeks to fulfill that order, which means you confirm your order based on today's sea freight. Last year we were in a position in 5 weeks' time, we didn't have the sea freight which we had 4 weeks ago. The sea freight went up by another $300-400. Additionally, there's a shortage of containers because they put so many ships in dry docks that we were not getting ships when we required them. So ships going in dry docks also was a problem. So the container capacity went down. So I think if we have a joint forum together to discuss and understand and plan the business together in terms of helping to move the most essential raw material of today's climate change, supporting carbon saving business, which is collection and sorting and recycling of recovered fiber, we need to work as a team. We need to plan and understand the demand and supply cycles. I mean, it's a very difficult subject. I haven't really gone into physical numbers in terms of what number is right, what number is wrong. What I've tried to do is I've tried to give an overarching understanding that shipping line or sea freight is a very important constituent of our partnership. We are a very important member of the shipping line's product mix. They need our product. We need them to carry our product. It's a partnership, a responsible partnership, and it must operate responsibly, not working like a yo-yo. Today at 800, tomorrow 1,000, then 2,000. Container supplies must be, the cycle has to be understood. Yes, there are Chinese New Year holidays coming. There are issues of holidays which are causing a problem in terms of the supply cycle. But all this, once it's discussed together, the industry can understand and work together. Finally, before I end, I would like to thank all of you for supporting me and all my colleagues in Global Recycling Foundation for the work that has been done. United Arab Emirates colleagues, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, you all have done us proud by supporting us on 18th March this year in launching and promoting Global Recycling Day in such a big way. In spite of COVID, all the social medias were used to the best possible extent. Countries outside UAE, Saudi Arabia did a fantastic project in Riyadh, again working with the EU ambassadors there, and EU Belgium ambassador in Riyadh. They organized a session. Morocco announced a special Clean Morocco campaign for 2021 on Global Recycling Day. And so much happened across in Europe, in America, in Canada, you name it, every country, United Kingdom, they've played a big part in supporting us. So I'm using this opportunity to thank you all. Please continue supporting Global Recycling Day. Please continue making sure that you recycle more. You keep on shipping as much as you can. And I request the shipping line to be our responsible partners. So together, shipping line and us in the environment industry can help climate change goals be attained, and we build a green, sustainable future for us, our children, and for the planet. Thank you very much.